Hi, everyone. I just got finished watching Cenk on TYT say that Biden's dropping out. Okay, so if he does drop out, and if what Cenk is saying is that Biden that we saw in the debate is the real Biden, he's like this all the time, which I doubt it because I've seen several speeches he's made since the debate, which show him as being very lucid and forceful. Now, here's my big problem with all of this. Okay, and let's contrast that orange puke station with this, okay? Here's the contrast. Biden is a spokesperson for his administration, which he, with help, so deftly picked. They got a lot of good stuff done. I know a lot of us progressives not in agreement with it. I would like to see more better things get done. But we did get some very important things done that the Republicans didn't have anything, well, in most cases, anything to do with it, and they have done nothing. Here's the thing. Democrats got things done. Democrats pushed Biden to do many of these legislative passes. That's right. He was pushed by them to do it. And this is my point, okay? And now we see what the problem is with the country. There's a lot of stupid people out there. No, I don't think most people are stupid. I think there's a lot of stupid people that anybody, after watching that debate or looking at any of the clips, would think that Trump is superior to Biden. You got a problem, man, and your problem is you don't value ethics. You see, here's a big problem in the country. There's a lot of people in the country who hate politics because a lot of politicians are liars. Now, almost all politicians lie. Almost all politicians take funny money. Okay? So, yeah, you got a point there. But why would you pick somebody? Now, Biden doesn't lie very much. He lies a little bit, okay? Why would you pick somebody who lies all the time, who does not have your best interests at heart? Look, you can take the whole economic profile, Trump versus Biden. I'm sorry, folks, do the research. Biden wins. Actually, his administration wins because he has great people that he's picked in his administration. Trump fired most of his people. The people that he kept were bums who were eating the corn out of his dung. Okay? That's what Trump wants to be, a authoritarian dictator. That's what he wants to be. And the Supreme Court just vilified that. If you fools that like him, elect him. He does not need to be elected at all. We'd be better off with a Joe Biden who is a mumbly peg who could just do a speech to push through legislation and brag about what the administration has done and, have his weak moments after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because that's what people are saying, is that he has weak moments after. However, Cenk, you're an ageist son of a bitch. You're a fat pig who tried to get into the presidential race even though you were not qualified because you're not native born. Okay, so maybe that isn't correct. Well, you didn't do anything that's going to fix that. Native born, you can run. Not native born, you can't. And we don't need that because you don't know who's going to get hustled in as a Manchurian candidate, even amongst native born, right? Okay, so the profile is the economy from Biden's administration. I say Biden because Biden just sits there, listens, and then makes decisions based on what he's being told and advised to do. And he's done his research. And look, he's been successful, very successful, more successful in 1 year than Trump was in his whole administration. So what did Trump do? Anything that might have been sort of beneficial was put out by somebody else, and Trump signed the bill. That was the extent. Right. Biden got a lot of good stuff done through his administration. He didn't do it. We don't need a strongman leader. We're better off with a committee-run executive branch where POTUS is a spokesperson and a spearhead when needed. That's what we need. We don't need a son of a bitch who's going to go and do mean stuff to people, hurt people, punish his critics, piss off the rest of the world. Let's face it, we're not an embarrassment to the rest of the world when it comes to this present administration. We're an embarrassment to the rest of the world when it comes to the previous administration and how Trump screwed things up. Trump screwed things up day one. He was booed by world leaders. He was laughed at in the United Nations during a speech he tried to give, tried to tell everybody how great America was and all this bullshit. Yeah, we know America's. We know that the United States is the richest country in the world. We know that there's a lot of freedom in the United States to do what you want, pursue your view of happiness. We know, even though there's a lot of contrary evidence to that claim, okay? This is not the freest place in the world. And let me tell you, if you stupid folks go out there and you vote for Trump, you're making it worse. Look what's happened so far. The Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade and severely damaged women's rights. Severely, and Trump brags about it and then says, well, you know, when it comes to abortion, the states are going to take care of it. And then you got states like Louisiana. And what's the other one? There's another state, where now there's criminal charges on abortion, where in Louisiana, they can castrate a sex offender, even though it's been proven not to work, right? All kinds of crazy, crazy stuff, anti-abortion measures. Look, these guys want to use the Bible as a guidepost for laws, and it was in some ways as such in the early years and the early decades of the country. It was. There was a guidepost for legislation and so forth, and a lot of bad stuff, a lot of blue laws that needed to go away that haven't even gone away yet. The Bible is not true. The Bible has some truth in it, but it also has a lot of BS in it. And to go back to an Old Testament interpretation for laws in the Bible, like putting the 10 Commandments in schools, and I think it was in Oklahoma, the head of the education department in Oklahoma has now ruled that the Bible has to be taught in public schools. Oh man, he needs to be run out of town on a rail. That bastard needs to be done away with in Oklahoma. And these states down there, they're all about seceding, right? Having their own country. Well, who would be the primary state? Texas. Well, Texas is really screwed up. Yeah, they're a very rich state. They have a very hot economy. A lot of people are moving there. But can Texas carry, and can Florida and Texas carry the rest of the states that want to secede and become their own country? No, they can't. It's just like it was in the Civil War in some respects, in that the economy of the rest of the country carries most of the southern states. Now, Texas doesn't need any help. Florida doesn't need any help. Well, both of them need a lot of ideological help, and there are good folks that want to run for office that are running for office in both those states. Now, back to Cenk. Cenk, you're full of shit. You're nothing but a fat, overblown, I want a strongman pig, and you're an ageist, and that comes out in your rhetoric, Cenk. Now, okay, so Biden had a major faux pas at the debate. That was one faux pas in the debate. He started off for a week because Trump starts out, he's this big, bossy, lying pig. That's what he is. He's a liar. And he lied, what was it? CNN figured out he lied once every minute and a half. So if he had 45 minutes, I think they said he told over 30 lies. Now, please, voters, if you're going to vote for this guy because you think he's strong and he has the ability to lead, look at his last 4 years. He didn't lead well at all. Look what he did during the pandemic. And do you think, by some stretch of the imagination, that the pandemic was a one-shot deal? No, there will be other pandemics. And we don't need somebody in the White House like that cretin. because he did a horrible job. And most of the job that he did then is responsible for this big problem we had in the economy. Because what happened? Okay, so the supply and demand equation, which I don't really like, I don't think it's the most valid economic indicator of what's going on. If you do look at that just for a pocket analysis, the supplies went down, the demand went up, transportation was affected by COVID. Transportation didn't have the numbers of transporters and the people who do the transporting to bring the goods to market. So what happens? Well, over time, the supply gets depleted, the demand goes higher, and prices shoot up. After that, what happens? Because there's no controls on that, because Trump didn't do a goddamn thing, did nothing to fix that problem. In fact, he had Navarro, that was his COVID czar, who was a total, what a nincompoop. The only thing he could think of was the Green Bay, the Green Bay sweep, to keep Trump in office. You should count your lucky stars, people that are Trump supporters, that Trump didn't get reelected, because things would be really bad. They would be worse than they are now. And things are not that bad. Unemployment's way down, lowest it's ever been over a long stretch. Wages are up, not up where they should be, of course. A lot of good things. More black people are working than ever have. A lot of good things. We got $35 insulin, which Trump tries to claim as his own. It's not. We got other things in place to counteract and cut back big pharma. They're all there. Okay, not that another candidate couldn't be maybe a better, more effective, stronger looking with greater optics than Joe Biden. Okay, not that couldn't happen, but who are you going to pick? Who's the strongest of these people? It might be a dark horse situation. The first time Bill Clinton ran and won, might be like that. Here's like a governor guy that comes out of the background that becomes the man. And I hate to tell you guys, because I'm not a big fan either, but the strongest of all these people, if you look at their performance and their chutzpah, the strongest is Gavin Newsom. Okay, and that's who. Now, if he could go head to head with the orange pus bag, he'll win hands down. He'll crush him in a debate, crush him. And he has made a lot of surplus in California, and there's a lot of things he's done that we don't like. He favored the power companies and their negligence in the forest fire stuff. Okay, so he's done a lot of stuff that we don't like, right? Especially the progressives. Okay, well, I'm further left than most progressives. I belong to the DSA. If you don't know what that is, look it up. And we don't. Okay, so a lot of progressive agenda is our agenda. Now, let's make a full sweep. The best candidate, really, the one who has the real platform, I hate to say it, but I am a former Green, is Jill Stein. And the Green platform is still the best. But Jill Stein is never get elected. She's got less chance than Robert F. Kennedy Jr., that gritty voiced, worm-eating brain guy. Yeah, Jill Stein, the Green Party, which I still dearly love and wish we had made an inroad so that we could be a huge voting bloc, at least a voting bloc within the Democratic Party, which I think a lot of the progressives, they're younger. I think a lot of them came over from Green leanings, and I think that's a beautiful thing. The Greens, we really put out a hell of an effort. People just didn't want to buy our agenda. They thought we were communists. They thought we were socialists. They thought we were all wrong, blah, 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 and all that crap. Actually, the Green Party still has the best platform. It does. Because it takes into account the most serious situation in our country next to this democracy-hating demagogue puss bag, climate change. Climate change is happening. And people, the Republicans want to blow it. Oh, no. And now they got the Chevron decision by the Supreme Court. Oh, my. What a horrific decision. Disempowering agencies so that regulations can't be enforced. So what does that mean? Well, that means that everybody from the pig farmer to the industrial plant that spews toxic waste is going to poison us even further than they have. Yeah, we're going to get poisoned because nobody's going to go down to ABC factory or pig farm and go, you guys can't do this anymore. Can't do it. We're going to shut you down. No, that's not going to happen now. Not going to happen at all because of Chevron. Even for the marijuana legislation advocates, to get it reduced in the schedule, that's going to go away. Yeah, a lot of stuff's going to go away because of this damn decision by the Supreme Court. So I think our path is clear. Biden or not, we need to take over the House with a huge majority. Also, we need to increase our majority in the Senate. The Democrats do. I have to vote. Well, I don't have to, but I choose to vote Democrat because it can get things done. Then what needs to happen is we need to impeach. We need to get 60 people, 60 senators, and we need to impeach a couple of these justices. We need to impeach Alito, and we need to impeach that pig Clarence Thomas. They need to be impeached. And we need to put the threat of it on the other guys. If we could get all of them out of there, it'd be great. Now, if we can get rid of those two and get two justices in there that represent the will of the people legally, structurally, right, then we'll have a good Supreme Court again. And Roberts is a bozo. Come on. He's done a couple good things, and how many years he's been in there? A couple good things, that's all. He's not. No, and Gorsuch is the enemy of the people. He's an enemy of the people. He is a corporate advocate and puts corporate, quote, rights, unquote, ahead of the employee. He's a scumbag, okay? And he needs to go also. Amy Coney Barrett could probably stay there and become more moderate, which she would if she was in a more liberal court. So that's what we need to do. We need to fix the court. We need to fix it right away. And we need to get rid of these corrupt guys like Thomas and like scumbag Alito. Alito is one of the greatest scumbag justice we've ever had. Okay, we need to get rid of these guys. We need to really get that big majority in the House. Now, people like Cenk is spewing false propaganda that people are going to want to change the Congress into a GOP Congress. Well, there's polls that show them pretty close. Thing of it is, who are they looking at? Okay? I mean, the GOP Congress did nothing. They tried to obstruct. They had a great border bill that was put together mainly by that Republican senator, right? Yeah, great border bill in their view, in the more conservative view. And so what happened in the House? They shut it down because Trump wanted it to be his baby that he was going to put out, which is not going to get passed because he's not going to have a majority to do it. So here's the thing. We, regardless of what happens with the presidency, we have to win the House back big time, and we have to increase our lead in the Senate. That way, if Trump gets in there, he won't be able to do shit. And we can do a lot more without him in there, since executive orders now, because of Chevron, are not very effective. Right. I mean, so what's he going to do? He's going to go and kill people that disagree with him? Well, that's a criminal act. That's not an official act. That's unofficial criminal act. So, folks, please, I know I'm running on here, and I'm really, when I see crap like Cenk says, it doesn't help. It hurts. It's like one of the commenters in the chat said, "Thanks, Cenk, for handing the election to the Nazis." That's right. That's right. Trump is like a poor man's Hitler. Yeah. Remember, he said Hitler did some good things. Yeah, okay, so what were the good things Hitler did? Well, he brought Germany out of the depression that they were in and into a very prosperous. And then where he went awry was he wanted to take over all of Europe and Russia. That was really stupid. If he would have just centered himself keeping Germany great and got rid of the militarism and all that crazy fascist nonsense, he could have really done something great for Germany. Outside of that, he screwed Germany. Luckily, over the last 70 years, Germany's been able to come back. They even got reunited after the Russian idiocy, after the USSR idiocy, the Soviet idiocy. So now, but from most reports that you will read, and I'm not posting a bunch of stuff like that on here because this is all out there. This is out there. You can read these things. You can look these up on the internet. okay, and read this stuff. Oh, you don't trust it because somebody wrote it. Well, that's too bad. Then you're not going to trust anything. And why don't you not vote? Why don't you stay home? Why don't you stay home? Because you're not helping the country. Do you want to help this country? You got to elect the Democrats because they've done things for you. God, it sounds so pro-Democrat, and I kind of hate that because my whole life I've always been further left than that. Okay, at one point I almost thought Nixon was okay, and then my dad told me, "Look, he's not okay. He's a crook." Okay, and my dad was right. And then you had Reagan, who I wanted to like, right? And my uncle, who was a humorist, nationally known humorist, was on TV and all kinds of stuff. He said, look, Reagan is senile. Okay, if you want to look at the real example of a president who was senile and who failed in their mental state, Reagan. That was Reagan. Nancy kept him propped up until the end of his term. And he was in Alzheimer's or dementia or wherever he was at, mental health wise, that's where he was. And the country, hate to admit it, according to what conservative values are, ran okay, right? Proof that you don't need a guy like that was a spokesperson. Reagan didn't have any political chutzpah or legislative chutzpah at all. He was a fucking figurehead. That's all he was. And you guys like that. You see, that's the problem. You got used to these strongman type personalities. And Reagan was. I don't care what anybody says. He did a lot of bad things for the country. He was not a friend of the worker, even though a lot of workers thought he was. No, he was not. He was not a good president, even though a lot of people disagree with me. Economy would not get that much better. Yeah, he inherited the debacle economy that Jimmy Carter inherited from Nixon, which couldn't be reversed in 4 years. Now, another example of this is Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson suffered a bad stroke in the last few years of his term, and his wife kind of ran things behind the scenes. Yeah. So that's what happens in these cases, which goes back to my point, Cenk, and you strongmen lovers. And don't tell me you're not a strongman lover. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. That's why you don't like Biden, because he's not coming off like a strongman. No, he's not. He's a backroom, let's get shit done guy, okay? Which I prefer over this strongman, great orator bullshit, which if you think Trump is a great orator, folks out there, you're wrong, man. This guy is a scumbag. He is a crook. He's a thief. He lies all the time. He is out to feather his bed. Look at some of the promos he's running now. Oh, you can buy the MAGA hat from me for $3,300. A hat, which is a red, white, and blue maggot hat. Come on. And that's just one of the scams he's running. He is out there feathering his bed and hope he doesn't get out of any of these civil cases that will drain his money dry. At $450 million, he needs to be made to pay that. Yeah, no. Trump is a scumbag. He's always been a scumbag. Day one. He's a lot smarter back then than he is now. Now he just acts like an asshole. A shark versus an electric motor in a boat. He doesn't even understand how a lot of boats run. A lot of boats have diesel motors that run electric motors in the boat that turn the propellers. Duh. What does nuclear power do in a submarine? Same thing. What kind of an idiot is this? Oh yeah, I'm a stable genius, and I have all those connections to MIT. Like, yeah, name only. So don't tell me, Cenk, how blah, blah, blah about Biden. I'm looking at what the administration has gotten done. Okay, as progressive, we don't like we don't think it's so great. But we're in a little bit further away on the left niche of the party as progressives. I'm further left than that. So, yeah, of course I'm not happy with that. But I'm sure happier than having another bozo in there like Trump. And the worst part of Trump is that people like him, that he's a demagogue. He entertains them, and they think what he's saying is okay because he's entertaining. Is that what you want? Do you want a front man who's entertaining, who's going to try to run the country solely on his own thinking, which is flawed, greatly flawed? Folks, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I really can't endorse any of this. Cenk, you're wrong. I don't think you're going to see Biden drop out. If I'm wrong, okay, fine. We'll get somebody that will do the job better.